Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's Ace of the Airways.
CX-4 calling control tower. CX-4 calling control tower. Standing by.
Control tower, back to CX-4. Wind southeast, ceiling 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan coming in. Yes, it's America's Ace of the Airways. Coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. Out at Wright Field in Ohio, there's a fellow who wears much more clothes than a magazine model. He's the Air Force's Copper Man. That's right, a Copper Man. And he's got a really important job to do for flyers all over the United States. You see, this Copper Man is electrically wired in such a manner that he reproduces the human temperature system. His job is to improve the comfort and safety of our fighter pilots and bomber crews. The Air Force's scientists at Wright Field use the Copper Man for designing and engineering flying clothes. Now, that might not sound like much, but it's a really important job. During the war, new flying clothes were being designed all the time. Pilots and crewmen would report on what they needed, what they believed might do a better job for them, and special research men were working and testing for new and better equipment. Oh, but that's doing it the hard way. There are any number of fabrics and any number of jobs to be done by the clothing a flyer wears. With the new high-speed jet planes, there's the question of compressibility, warmth, wind resistance, the absorption of body moisture. All these problems have to be solved by the men who design flying clothes. And as you know, those developments accepted by the Air Forces eventually drift down to civilian flyers. Of course, in combat flying, you often have to have special equipment for special jobs, and that's where the Air Force's Copper Man comes in. With the Copper Man, the Army scientists can run hundreds of tests under all sorts of conditions. I'll have some more to tell you about the Air Force's Copper Man in a few moments, so don't forget to listen. And now to our story. Reaching the lost Mayan city of Xochitl, almost completely hidden by the dense tropical forest of central Yucatan, Hop, Tank, and young Christopher Cross had barely recovered from two weird and terrifying occurrences when they witnessed a third, even more nerve-shattering. From where they stood, at the base of the Mayan temple, they saw a man's head outlined in the bright moonlight at the very apex of the massive stone monument. A man's head with two large, twisting horns extending from it. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished.
I don't believe it. It ain't true.
But it is, Tank. I saw it with my own eyes.
A man with horns. Okay, if that ain't enough to show you we got to get out of here, then you got rocks in your head.
Now, Tank, don't start that all over
I
again.
ain't starting. I'm finishing. I'm washing my hands of this spooky joint for good.
But we can't leave yet.
For Pete's sake, how much could a guy take?
But, Tank, the wall. We've got to take pictures of the wall.
Listen, I ain't sticking my neck in no noose for a bunch of pictures.
Now, Tank, be reasonable. There's a logical explanation behind all this. I'm sure there
You
is.
said that before, but I'm from Missouri.
Well, give me a chance, will you?
Nuts. Are we getting out of here or ain't we?
No.
What do you say, Chris?
I'm staying.
Okay, then I'll be seeing you sometime, I hope.
Where are you going?
Back to Valladolid.
Tank, you can't. You'll get lost.
I'd rather be lost than dead. So long and good luck.
Tank!
Leave him alone, Chris.
Leave him alone. Hop the forest is big, and he'll...
Forget it. He'll be back. Now, let's unpack and set up camp. Come on, Pepita. Drag yourself over here.
Hop,
Yeah.
what about that head we saw?
I'm afraid that'll have to wait until morning.
A man with horns. There is no such thing, is there, Hop?
Oh, of course not. All right. Hold still, Pepita. Let me get this pack off your back, will you? There. Lend a hand, Chris.
Oh, sure. You think Tank will be all right?
Oh, of course he will. He knows how.
What's that?
Panther, I think.
Maybe we better go after Tank.
Oh, wait. Somebody's coming.
You don't think... Why, it's Tank.
I thought so.
Hiya, fellas.
Hello, Tank.
Hi.
Forget something?
No. Just setting up camp?
Mm-hmm. Here, Chris, put the photographic equipment in that pile there.
Okay.
Is there anything I can do?
Well, I thought you were going back to Valladolid.
No, I changed my mind. I'm kind of tired. Besides, I didn't feel right about leaving you guys here alone.
Oh, we can manage.
Oh, sure, but I never can tell when you'll need an extra hand.
What about this spooky joint?
Well, the way I figured, if you can take it, so can I. And Hop,
Huh?
I'm sorry I blew my top before. Won't happen again, I promise. Jumping Jenny.
That's a panther, Tank.
You sure? Maybe it's one of them old-time guards coming back to get us.
Tank.
Oh. I'm sorry, Hop. Gosh, I'm awful nervous.
Hop, I've got an idea.
Huh?
Well, the way Tank feels, I don't think it's fair to stay here any longer than we have to.
That's my pal.
But we still have to take pictures of the wall. So why don't we go into the temple and find the tomb right now?
In the dark?
Well, what difference does it make? It's dark in the temple all the time.
Well, I don't know.
What do you say, Hop? And then tomorrow, while it's daylight, we can take the time to find out what made that awful noise and all the rest. And then leave before it gets dark again.
Sounds reasonable. What do you think, Tank?
Well, any way you want to play it, so long as we get out of here fast.
Chris, you've made yourself a deal.
Well, then let's go.
Check. I'll take the camera and the flash bulb. You get the rest of the stuff.
We won't need much.
Hey, what about Pepita?
I'll tie her to that rock over there. She'll be all right.
Oh, okay. Come on, Pepita. Just like old days.
Chris, you better take the flashlight. You'll have to lead the way, you know.
I sure hope I can remember everything.
Yeah. Okay, Hop, I'm all set.
Well, let's get rolling.
With Chris leading the way, the boys walked rapidly to a small archway a few feet to the left of the long outer stair, and after a momentary pause for a last look about them, plunge into the darkness of the inner temple, where they find themselves in a long, narrow tunnel which slopes downward at a shallow angle.
Phew. This joint could stand a good mop-up job. Dust's a foot thick.
Hasn't been anyone in here for centuries, Tank. Besides my father and me.
Hey, Chris, hold the light steady.
Oh, sorry.
Making a lot of turns. Think you can find your way?
I'm watching my compass ring. We were heading south when we came in. Now we're going east.
We better remember them directions for when we want to get out.
It's easy so far. Only one passageway.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
What's the matter?
The tunnel divides here.
Well, do we go right or left?
I'm not sure.
Think, Chris. Think hard.
Well, it was so long ago. This way, I think. To the right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Gosh. The further in you go, the worse it smells.
Which way are we heading now? Check your ring, Chris.
South.
Okay, keep checking it.
Holy cow, what's that?
Bats, cover your face.
Where'd they come from?
They must have been hanging from the ceiling. I guess the light disturbed them.
Bats, yeah. This is getting worse and worse.
Go ahead, Chris.
Ha!
What?
My ring. Something's wrong with my ring.
What do you mean?
Well, not a minute ago, the needle pointed south. Now it's switched around. It's pointing north. Look, you see?
That's crazy. We didn't turn around.
I know it, and I looked at it only a few feet back in the tunnel.
Oh, wait a minute. Now it's pointing west. What in the world could have happened to it?
I knew we couldn't count on a little toy.
It's worked perfectly up to now.
Oh, now I remember.
Huh? Remember what?
Well, this happened last time, to Dad's compass.
You mean when you found the wall?
Yes. His compass went all haywire, too. Hop, it's down this tunnel, I'm sure it is.
Okay, let's go.
And it wasn't very far down, either. I remember Dad wanted to turn back, but he decided to look just a little farther.
Keep that light up.
The door into the tomb is on the left, I'm sure it is. Yes, there it is.
Good for you, Chris. Come on, Tank, pick up your feet.
Don't rush me. Hey, Chris, shine your light down on the floor.
Where?
Something right in front of the door. There, you see?
Why, it's a bowl with something in it.
It's a white liquid.
What? It looks
Hop,
like...
don't taste it.
It's got it. It's milk. Fresh milk.
What? How did it get here? For Pete's sake, what kind of a setup is this anyway?
As Tank literally throws his hands in the air in complete frustration, Hop shakes his head in puzzled bewilderment. Suddenly, Chris starts forward, eyes bright with fear. Does he know what this strange discovery means? We'll find out in a minute, gang, so stand by. At the beginning of Hop Harrigan, I was telling you about the Army Air Force's thermal man, a copper man electrically wired so that he reproduced the exact temperatures of a real person. This copper man has the important job of working out the designs of new flying clothes for our airmen. In fact, with jet planes and new air developments, it's not so much designing clothes as engineering them. In seeing that our flyers are comfortable while doing their jobs, the Army scientists have a couple of big problems. One of these big problems is heat, fabric heat and body heat. And that's where the copper man comes in to do his job. Under varying conditions, the human body changes. In fact, depending on how we feel, we even react differently under the same conditions. So you can see that hundreds, sometimes thousands of tests must be made before the Air Forces decides it has the right clothing for flyers. Then the question arises, what about all the different places our Air Forces may have to operate? During the past war, our flyers were putting their planes into just about every corner of the globe, and clothing equipment, just as every other type of equipment, must be ready for any conditions. Some of those theaters of operation had pretty rugged weather conditions, but using the Copper Man, the scientists could experiment with a subject who can stand any conditions with unlimited endurance and patience. The building of the Copper Man has, of course, been a big job in itself. GE and several other companies have had their best men on the job. He's the same size as the average Air Forces man, and inside he's a pretty complicated mechanism. And there you have another phase of the air age. Opportunity, new jobs, things still to be done. So remember, America needs flyers. And now back to our story. Descending into the depths of the temple, Hop, Tank, and Chris finally reached the ancient tomb where they would find the all-important wall they were to photograph. But there, in the doorway to the tomb, they saw an earthenware bowl filled with fresh milk, at the sight of which Chris turned white with fear.
What is it, Chris? What does it mean?
The cat. The black cat.
What black cat?
Oh, well, there's a story that the rulers of Sochil are buried in this temple. This is one of their tombs.
So what's that got to do with a cat?
Well, the story is that after they die, their souls leave their bodies and enter the bodies of cats. The natives always left food for the cats in front of the tomb.
Well, that's like the old Egyptian legend.
Who told you that fairy tale?
My father.
Oh, you sure cut your teeth on a fine lot of bedtime stories, kid.
Well, Tank, let's get this over with. Help me with the door, will you? It's probably heavy.
Check.
Hold the light steady, Chris.
I'm trying to.
Okay, now, Tank. Push.
Let's say it's heavy.
Solid stone slab.
I can see a cat push his way through this to get me milk.
A little more, Tank. That does it. Now, Chris, the light.
I'm coming.
Shine it right in. See anything? Small room. It's empty.
Where's that wall we're looking for?
Straight ahead.
Tank, bring in the camera. We'll get set up.
You bet.
Chris, you sure this is the right place?
Positive.
About that bowl of milk. Was it here when you came with your father?
No, at least I didn't see it then.
Strange. That's the second thing that's
Tom,
happened.
come here, quick.
Oh, Lord, what now?
What's the matter, Tank?
Look down the tunnel.
Ah, their eyes. Cat's eyes.
Shine the flash down there. There's nothing there. Tank, you were imagining things.
Hop, I saw them too.
Imagining things, huh? We'll take a look at the bowl. It's empty.
So another weird and mysterious occurrence is added to a night full of strange adventure. Now it's a ghostly black cat. What will happen next? Gang, the mystery deepens in our next episode, so be sure to listen. Tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine. Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways.
CX-4 calling control tower. CX-4 calling control tower. Standing by.
Control tower, back to CX-4. Wind southeast, ceiling 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan. Coming in.
Yes, it's America's ace of the airways. Coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. Well, fellas and girls, lots of you are going to be pilots someday, either as officers in the Air Forces or just as plain civilians who love flying. Now, I'm going to tell you something that may surprise you. Did you know that not all private pilots are really aware of how their planes are built, how fast they will go, what their stalling characteristics are, how much of a load they can safely carry, what the proper gliding and landing attitude should be, and so forth and so on? Well, the surprise element may come from the fact that ordinarily we think of any private licensed pilot as a person who has had much training, far more training, for example, than the average person who drives a car. Well, most of the country's pilots have had lots of training, but mostly it's been training in how to fly, regardless of what they're flying, whether it be a B-36 or a Piper Cub, and there's a big difference. Well, the point I want to make is that flying can be much more fun if a fellow takes the trouble to study and test his plane. Studying navigation and weather is important also. Handling a good aircraft requires as much patience and time as learning how best to become acquainted with your pet dog and teach him tricks. But once you know your ship, there's hardly anything that can happen to you unexpectedly. So next time you talk to a pilot friend of yours, ask him a few questions about his plane. If he answers fast and to the point, well, then you can be pretty sure he's his own test pilot. He knows his plane as well as you know your dog. Now I see time's up, but I'll be back in a few minutes, so don't forget to listen. And now to our story. Native legend and superstition, underscored by several weird happenings, have created a night of terror for Hop, Tank, and young Christopher Cross upon their arrival at the lost Mayan city of Xochitl. So, deciding to move fast, the boys entered the massive stone temple of Kumakan in the dead of night and searched through dark, twisting tunnels for the tomb where they knew they would find the mural they were to photograph. Reaching the tomb, with the aid of Chris's compass ring, they were startled to find an earthenware bowl filled to the brim with fresh milk. Now, more than ever determined to leave Xochitl as soon as possible, Tank was sent out into the passageway to bring in the camera and other equipment. A moment later, Hop and Chris were startled by his cry of alarm.
Jump it, Jenny. Hop, come here, quick.
On the double, Chris.
Gosh, what's happened now?
What is it, Tank?
Look, down the tunnel.
Huh?
Eye. I see eye.
The flashlight, Chris. Turn it down that way.
There's nothing there.
Tank, are you sure you weren't imagining things?
I saw them, too.
Look at that bowl. It's empty.
Must be the cat. The black cat.
Impossible. Even if you did see a cat, it certainly couldn't have finished that whole bowl of milk in 2 minutes.
The milk ain't there, is it?
No. Now, come on, let's get this over with. Bring the camera inside, Tank.
Okay.
Set up the tripod in the middle of the tomb. Chris, you keep the flashlight on the wall so I can focus correctly.
All right.
Okay, here, Hop.
Yes. Set the camera on it. I want to check the wall, block out the sections to photograph.
Want me to help you, Tank?
No, thanks. I can handle it.
Then do you mind if I look with Hop?
No, go on.
Thanks. Hop,
Yes, Chris.
what's so important about the wall anyway? I don't see any big secret on it.
Well, to be truthful, I don't either.
Pictures of a bunch of birds painted all over the wall. You know, they're kind of funny looking at that.
Aren't they? The way their wings curled down and out. Over here are drawings of the wings alone.
You know what kind of birds they are?
Oh, they're pretty big, though.
Bigger than eagles.
Now, they might be condors, but I thought condors were only found in South America. Well, this is it. This is what Major McCall wants. It's up to us to give it to him.
Camera's all set up, Hop.
Oh, good. Chris, bring the light farther back, will you?
How many shots you going to take?
I'll cover the whole wall, then I'll break it down into sections. You have the flash gun and bolts?
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Hold the light steady, Chris.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's about as sharp as I can get it. Okay, Tank, the film pack.
Huh?
The film pack, the unexposed negatives.
Oh, sure. Hop,
What's the matter?
I forgot them.
What?
Oh, Tank.
They was in a different pack now that I think about
A
it.
fine time to start to think.
I'm awful sorry.
Being sorry doesn't help us take pictures.
I'll go back and get the film.
Ah, you stay put. Tank forgot it. It's his job.
Go back alone?
Alone.
Oh, Hop, them tunnels, they're awful dark.
Well, I'll go with you if it's all right with Hop.
Okay. We can't do anything here without film.
Say, why don't all of us go back together so you won't be alone?
I don't mind. Get rolling now.
All right. Let's go, Chris.
Hop, you keep the flash.
No, you need it more than I do. Now, will you two please get moving? You're wasting time.
Okay, come on, Chris.
Left in utter darkness, Hop sits on the cold stone floor to wait for Tank's and Chris's return. The minutes pass slowly. The void-like blackness presses down upon him like a dead weight. There's nothing but silence,
a silence which grows more oppressive with every beat of his heart. Suddenly, Hop sits bolt upright, conscious of a faint stir somewhere nearby. Nerves tingling, alert, he tries to trace the sound. He shakes his head. He was imagining things.
I'm getting as bad as Tank.
But then he's conscious of the sound again. This time, definitely alarmed, he rises to a crouching position and waits. Nothing happens. Now, convinced that he's the victim of nerves, he settles back against the wall, only to freeze, for not 10 feet away, 2 large eyes, gleaming like green coals of fire, hang suspended in midair. For a split second, Hop is unable to move. His bones and muscles turn to water. Then, with a tremendous effort, he heaves himself to his feet and rushes forward. But the eyes vanish as quickly as they had appeared, and Hop crashes headlong into the wall. Shaken but unhurt, he looks around carefully, sees nothing more, and so resumes his seat on the floor, now counting the very seconds until Tank's and Chris's return. Meanwhile, Tank and Chris have reached the outside and, finding Pepita still tethered to a large stone, search through the backpack for the film. Stuffing it in their pockets, they turn and re-enter the tunnel, moving quickly, guided by the flashlight and compass ring.
Come on, Chris, step it up.
I don't think we should walk any faster. We might trip.
Then watch your step.
You're worried about Hop, aren't you?
Sure I am. All alone in there with that cat.
He wasn't really mad at you, was he?
Mad? About what?
You know, for getting the film.
Oh, he was only letting off a little steam. It sure was dumb of me.
You like him, don't you?
Hop? Sure, he's aces. Best pal the guy ever had.
Wish I had a friend like that.
Well, you have, 2 of them.
Who?
Hop and me. You rate pretty high with us.
Oh, that's swell.
Hey, here's where the tunnel forks off. This way.
Oh, no, Tank, this way, to the right.
Come on, you're mixed up. We went down this way.
Tank, I'm sure
Look,
we went...
we're wasting time. This is the way we came. I'm positive. Come on.
Oh, all right, if you say so.
You think I'd make a mistake like that? I don't want to be hanging around in this creep joint any longer than I have to.
Me neither.
We should be getting close to the tomb now. Let's call Hop. Make him feel better. Hop! Hey, Hop! Not any answer.
Tank, I think we came the wrong way.
Look, Chris, don't start that again.
But don't you remember, Tank, last time my compass ring started acting crazy. Now it's holding steady south.
Well...
And look, there's another fork in the tunnel. We never saw that before.
Well, that's me all over. Always doing the wrong thing. I'm sorry, Chris. Okay, we'll go back. Well, let's run, huh? I'm getting worried.
Oh!
Chris, watch it.
Oh, my God.
Chris, you all right?
Yes, but I dropped the flashlight, and it's broken.
So the utter blackness closes around them like a blanket. Tank and Chris try to puzzle their way back to Hop, but turning and twisting, feeling for the walls to guide them, they realize they're lost.
Gang, there's a big surprise waiting for you at the climax of today's episode, so stand by. At the beginning of Hop Harrigan, I told you about the value of studying your plane even after you've learned how to fly it. Now, of course, most of you do no flying at all, except occasionally as passengers. But in this air age, the chances are that many of you will sometime find yourselves at the controls of an Army or Navy plane, or even possibly your very own private plane. There are all kinds of courses available to teach you how to fly. Some of them are short courses that leave out lots of information which it's expected the pilot will pick up later on as he increases his time spent in the air. Then, as in the Army and Navy, the courses are really complete. The students learn a great deal. In fact, almost everything there is to know about planes in general and planes in particular. Yet, the Army and Navy are not inclined to let their pilots grow old. They like young men. And many former service pilots, after becoming civilians, find themselves waiting a long time before they can afford to resume flying at their own expense. Well, by that time, of course, planes may have changed. New types of construction have been perfected. And truly, the ex-pilots may find themselves almost bewildered by the difference. Thus, when they take up flying again, their problem, although simpler than the amateur, is complicated by the fact that they have to start to learn all over again. Some of them take the time and effort to do this. Others don't. But any good natural pilot will tell you that unless a man knows his plane inside out, He's not going to get half the fun and satisfaction from flying that the man who does know his plane gets. It's part of the job of keeping up with the world. And your world, or part of it, is in the air. For always remember, America needs flyers. And now, back to our story. Retracing their steps after taking a wrong turn in the tunnel, Chris stumbled and dropped the flashlight, and he and Tank were lost in the blackness. Now, as we join them, they're trying to feel their way back along the rough stone walls.
I'm awfully sorry I dropped the flashlight, Tank.
No, forget it. It's all my fault. I made you take the wrong turn.
Maybe if we called Hop now, he'd hear us.
Well, it's worth a try. Hop! Hey, Hop!
Hop! Can you hear us? Hear him?
No.
Let's try again. Hop! Hop!
Hop, it's us! Chris and Tank!
Tank! Listen.
Chris! Tim. Where are you? We got into the wrong tunnel and our lights busted. Keep walking toward the sound of my voice. Okay. Go ahead, Chris. Take it easy or you'll trip again.
I'll be careful.
What happened? I pulled a boner again. Where are you? Where the tunnels branch off. I'm coming towards you. Good.
Gosh, I'm sure glad to hear his voice.
You and me both, kid. You and me both.
Did you bring the film?
I don't make the same mistake twice.
We're not far apart now. I can hear you very plainly.
Wish we could see you.
Easy now. We'll bump into each other.
I got my hand. Hey!
Calm down.
Oh, you.
I'm sorry all this happened, Hop. It was my
Oh,
fault.
forget it. Let's go back to the tomb now.
What about some lights that focus the camera?
Ah, that's right.
There's another flash in the pack.
This time we'll all of us go. I don't like splitting up.
Okay, Tank, come on.
What's that?
Duck! Great Scott, come on.
What was it?
I don't know it.
Hi, what's the matter? Just ran into a wall.
A wall? There's no wall here.
Oh, nothing. This is smooth. The tunnel is all bumpy and rough.
Oh, good Lord.
What is it?
Stone slab. That's what we heard. It's blocking the tunnel.
Then come on, let's go back the other way.
Hey, listen.
That was the same kind of noise. From down there.
Oh, no.
Chris is right, Tank. The tunnel's blocked at both ends. We're trapped.
Yes, trapped in a tunnel made of solid rock. Caught in a black, airless void deep inside an abandoned temple.
Gang, there's lots of action and suspense ahead, so tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airwaves. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine. Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways.
CX-4 calling control tower. CX-4 calling control tower. Standing by.
Control tower, back to CX-4. Wind southeast, ceiling 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan coming in. Yes, it's America's ace of the airways, coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. You know, gang, one of the most important developments to come out of the last war was real cooperation between the soldiers on the ground and the air forces. Planes helped our GIs out of many a tough spot in combat, not only by bombing and strafing the enemy, but also by dropping food and ammunition to units cut off from regular supply lines. During the war, the air forces did the best they could with the equipment they had. It was pretty tough because all supplies dropped were limited by the size of bomb bay doors. After the Japanese surrendered, the AAF's Air Materiel Command began experimenting with new parachutes and planes, trying to develop a superior method of dropping all kinds of equipment from the sky. And it wasn't long before they came up with something far better than the wartime method. In fact, not too long ago, the Air Materiel boys conducted tests over Wright Field to see how their parachutes worked under realistic combat conditions. In those tests, A 75-millimeter howitzer cannon weighing over 2,000 pounds was dropped without any injury at all to the big gun. And just a few minutes after the cannon was dropped, it was hooked onto a jeep, ready to be hauled into firing position. You see, in this new method, 2 parachutes were used. One is a small ribbon chute, which pulls the cargo through rear doors built into a giant transport plane. The other parachute is much larger than the first. It's inflated in midair and swings the cargo safely to the ground. To help the small chute drag the cargo out of the doors, a wooden skid on ball-bearing wheels is put under it. More later, gang, so don't forget to listen. And now to our story. Entering the mysterious and forbidding temple of Kumakan, despite many weird occurrences, Hop, Tank, and young Christopher Cross found the tomb where they were to photograph a mural containing a vital secret of flight. But at the last minute, they discovered the film had been left behind, so Tank and Chris went outside to get it. When they came back, they missed the turnoff in the twisting tunnels and for a few nerve-wracking moments thought they were hopelessly lost, especially when Chris dropped the only flashlight and it broke. Hop, worried about their delay, went in search of them and found them. But suddenly, as they felt their way along the rough stone walls of the passageway, they heard a strange rumbling noise echoing through the darkness from a point not too far ahead of them.
Run. Come on, run.
Jump with Jenny. What's happening?
I don't know.
Feels like the tunnel's caving in.
Oh, I don't think it's that. It may be
What happened?
I ran into a wall.
But there isn't any wall there.
But, great Scott, the passage is blocked. What? This stone slab runs from wall to wall. That's what we heard when it fell into place.
Come on, back the other way, fast.
Right.
Listen.
What?
Uh-oh, the same thing.
We're trapped.
Trapped. Oh, my gosh.
But I don't understand. What could have happened? How could those stones fall like that?
They didn't fall, Chris. Someone or something lowered them.
Hop, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. Come on, help me. Maybe we can bust it down.
No, it's solid stone, Tank.
We ain't going to stay here and just die, are we? We got to do something.
All right, but take it easy. Don't blow your top.
Hop, what can we do?
Well, first thing, we better find out if we really are trapped.
Of course we are. With them stones in the way, we
Tank,
can't...
control yourself.
But-
Tank.
I'm sorry. Just the dark and everything that's been happening. What should I do?
That's better. Now, you and Chris go back down the tunnel. Feel your way along. Chris, you take the right side over here. Tank the left.
Then what?
Search for an opening. Any kind of an opening. All loose stones where there might be a chance of digging our way out.
Digging? With what?
You have your screwdriver, don't you?
Yeah, but what good will a screwdriver be?
It's better than nothing. Oh, yes, and see if you can find the flashlight. Maybe we can repair it.
All right.
And when you reach the other slab blocking the tunnel, sing out.
What are you going to do?
Check this end thoroughly. There must be some kind of mechanism in the wall for lowering and raising the stone. Get going now.
Come on, Tank.
Okay.
And remember, take it slow and easy. Cover every possible inch and don't get panicky. There's a way out of here. There must be a way out. And we'll find it. If we don't lose our heads.
But even as Hop tries to encourage Tank and Chris, he fights a rising terror within him. Trapped in the heart of the temple, with no possible aid from the outside, what can they do? Nevertheless, Hop tackles the stone slab before him. With sensitive fingers, he examines every inch, checks and double-checks the edges to find a crack, an indentation. In a heartbreakingly few minutes, he hears Tank sing out from the other end.
Hop,
Yes.
we reached the end.
Huh? About how far is it?
We didn't go more than 50 feet.
Oh, find any kind of an opening?
The wall's solid on my side.
Mine, too.
There's no way to get through the slab down here. It's snug and tight against the walls.
Well, come on back then.
Hop,
Yes, Chris.
I can't find the flash. I must have dropped it farther back in the tunnel.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter, I suppose.
You find anything, Hop?
No breaks in the stone. So we'll make our own break.
What? With a screwdriver?
Now, we'll work on the sides here. The slab fits into a channel. I figured that out at least. And if we can get into it, we may find the device that lifts the stone.
You really think so, Hop?
Sure I do, Chris. It'll take a little time, of course, but I think we can get through all right.
Okay.
Here's the screwdriver. We'll work in shifts, a half hour apiece. Just keep chopping away at the edge of the wall here. Where? Give me a hand. There. See where the rough stone meets the smooth slab? Uh-huh. That's our target. Oh, murder. Okay, move over. Let me at it. Right.
What do you want me to do, Hop?
Nothing, Chris. Find a comfortable place on the floor if you can and rest.
Isn't there anything?
Nothing.
The light sound of metal chipping against stone and Tank's labored breathing fills the tunnel. Pop and Chris settle down on the floor, their backs to the wall, and sit quietly, each concerned with his own thoughts. The minutes pass slowly, and unconsciously, the two boys begin to concentrate on the sound of Tank's work. They count each stroke, listening for the rattling fall of each loose piece of rock. After a half hour or so, Hop takes over and, feeling the broken surface, realizes that with all Tank's strength, the results of his labors are pitifully small. Furiously, he begins to dig into the hard surface. Time ceases to have meaning. The boys measure each shift by the ever-growing strain on their arms. The air in the tunnel grows heavy and foul, making each movement a tremendous effort.
Hop,
Yes, Chris.
it's so hot down here. I can hardly breathe.
Lie flat on the floor. The air will be fresher on the floor.
If we only had some water.
Try not to think about it, Chris.
I can't help it. I close my eyes, and all I can see is water all around. There used to be a little brook in the back of our house. It had the coldest and the sweetest water in it. I can almost taste it.
For Pete's sake, can it, will you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tank. I didn't mean to.
Oh, forget it. My fault. Here, Hop, my arm's dropping off. You better take over again, will you?
Oh, sure.
Tank,
Yeah, Chris.
is it working? Are we going to get out?
In a million years, maybe.
But Hop said we would.
With only a screwdriver? What do you expect, miracles? Easy, Tank. All right. I didn't mean that, Chris. We'll get out all right.
Sure. Tank's only kidding. Why, we've chopped away a lot already. I can feel the edge of the slab now, and there's a space behind it, too. A little more work and... Oh, Lord.
What was that, Hop?
What happened?
Screwdriver. It broke.
There's momentary silence in the blackness of the tunnel, a silence broken only by the thudding beat of their hearts, as the full import of Hop's words hits them. Now their last hope is shattered. We'll bring you the climax of today's episode in just a moment, gang, so stand by. At the beginning of Hop Harrigan, gang, I started telling you about a brand new method of dropping supplies from the sky. Under real combat conditions, a thing like that could come in mighty handy helping ground soldiers when they're surrounded or when their supply lines are cut off. As I said before, during the last war, any supplies that could be dropped were limited to the size of the bomb bay doors, as only bombers could be used. And even in the larger bombers, the doors weren't very big. Nothing larger than food containers, small arms, and ammunition could be dropped. Now, with the new way of dropping cargo, monster transport ships are used. The rear doors are giant-sized. You can imagine how large they are when you remember that a 2,000-pound cannon can easily be dropped from them. The C-82s used for these operations are so roomy that right field engineers are thinking of dropping a jeep along with the gun. Both would leave the plane within 3 seconds and land on the ground within 100 yards of each other. Well, that would really be a great help parachuting down a jeep along with a field gun, wouldn't it? Another big advantage in this new method is the amazing accuracy with which cargo can be dropped. The smaller ribbon chute makes the falling supplies go almost straight down. Both parachutes used in the operation were designed by the Air Force's laboratory at Wright Field. It's part of the new streamlined program of cooperation between the flyboys and the ground forces. It helps make the GI's equipment more mobile than ever before in history. Troops in the field can advance as fast as they can travel without having to worry about food or ammunition or even big artillery pieces. Gang, some of you may be our future pilots, navigators, and ground crews, so remember, America needs flyers.
And now, back to our story. Now all hope of escape is gone. Hop, Tank, and Chris are sitting quietly in the tunnel, their minds whirling, but unable to put their thoughts into words. Suddenly, Tank jumps up and dashes at the stone slab, clawing it furiously.
We ain't gonna stay down here. I ain't gonna die in a rat hole like this. I ain't.
Tank, stop it.
I'll get out if I have to rip it apart with my bare hands.
Control yourself, Tank.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
You fool, you'll tear your hands to ribbons.
So what? Look good at my hands now. I can do it. I'll rip it out myself.
Tank.
Let go of me, I said. I'm gonna...
Sorry, Tank. I have to do it. Come on now.
Is he all right, Hop?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm okay. Excuse me, Hop. Forget it. Now, take it easy. Yeah, take it easy.
Hop, I'm scared.
So am I, Chris. Awfully scared.
But you said we'd get out. You said there was a way.
I know it.
Well?
There is no way.
Hop's hushed words echo in the tunnel, and Chris, with a muffled sob, turns his face to the wall. It looks like the end of the trail for the boys. But there's a startling surprise ahead, so don't miss our next action-packed episode. Tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday, same time, same mutual station.
Alright, everyone, that is the end of the first half of the listen-along. Have your 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and do the rest. Cool. See you in 5 minutes. Bye, guys. Yeah, music, yeah, music. Oh, I'm live. Oops. Well, 5 minutes is up. Yay. Back to the thingy. Yay. Hop Harrigan. Woo.
Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways.
CX-4 calling control tower. CX-4 calling control tower. Standing by.
Control tower back to CX4. Wind southeast. Ceiling 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan. Coming in.
Yes, it's America's ace of the airways. Coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. Say, gang, one of the most important Air Force's research projects has to do with protection of flyers and aircraft personnel during emergencies, especially when something goes wrong over the ocean and rescue might be hours, maybe days away. Well, up to now, the life raft has been used to keep men afloat after overwater crashes, but there was nothing the downed flyer could wear to protect himself from bitter cold water or icy winds. Many a pilot has been picked up suffering from exposure, sometimes seriously. Recently, the Air Transport Command, which operates the Air Rescue Service, worked out a most unusual anti-exposure suit for protection of flyers on the water. The suit is made of light waterproof material and designed to be worn over regular flying clothes. It'll keep a man afloat and safe in icy cold water for almost an hour, which is more than any other suit manufactured up to now will do. And if a life raft is available, the suit will keep a flyer warm for as long as 2 weeks. The Air Rescue Service has already tested this anti-exposure suit thoroughly in all kinds of weather, in tropic heat as well as Arctic cold. It can be put on in less than 40 seconds, covers the whole body except for the face, and because of a brand new chemical coating, it can easily be put on over a complete flying outfit. The suit is even equipped with a full hood and warm woolen mittens. So you can see when it comes to safety, the Air Forces thinks of everything. In just a few minutes, gang, I'll be back to tell you of another new AAF discovery, so don't forget to listen. And now to our story. The massive temple of Kumakan stands majestically golden in the rays of the early morning sun and throws a long triangular shadow over the tumbled ruins of Xochitl. There's nothing mysterious or spectral about the ancient city in the daylight, and as a twin-engine Cessna circles high above, the pilot, a woman dressed entirely in black, stares down at the placid scene, smiling satisfaction.
So, Miguel, at last we have found it. Here is the lost city.
You are sure this is where we shall find the wall with the great secret?
I am positive, Miguel.
There is nothing much left of the place. Where shall we look?
The wall is undoubtedly somewhere in the heart of the great temple.
I do not see any place large enough for us to land.
The emergency field at Valladolid is not far. We shall leave the airplane there and proceed to the lost city on foot.
What of Harrigan and Tinker, senor? You think they have already found the place?
I see no one below. Wait, what is that?
Where?
At the base of the temple, near the steps. It is a donkey.
See, it is tied to a rock. Senora, there is a pack on its back.
So?
Then they are in the ruins. They've already found the wall.
Perhaps. Or perhaps the animal belongs to a native. In any case, we shall take no chances.
Madre de Dios, senor, what do you do?
Machines on Miguel. Get ready.
But there is nothing to shoot at.
You shoot the donkey, idiot.
What is the good of that?
I said we take no chances. Quickly now. We are almost within range.
See.
You are ready?
A little more to the left, senor.
Very well.
Now, hold the plane steady.
Hurry, Miguel. We are close to the ground.
So, now.
Hit him, you fool. Hit him.
I am trying, senor, my best.
You are stupid, Miguel. You did not hit him. Look, he is running off into the forest. All you did was hit the rope which held him.
I am sorry, senora.
Well, it is no matter. We have accomplished our purpose in another way. Now, whoever is inside is without supplies. so. We fly to Valladolid and return to the lost city tonight.
Banking sharply, the woman whom we now know is La Pantera, Hop's and Tank's deadly enemy, roars away over the tropical forest toward Valladolid. Meanwhile, deep in a tunnel of the ancient temple, we find the boys and young Christopher Cross helplessly trapped. Suddenly, Tank stirs.
Hey, you guys hear anything?
No, not me.
I didn't either. Why? I could have sworn I heard a plane. It was diving. I heard machine guns, too. You were dreaming, Tank? Yeah, I guess so. Gosh, a plane. Be up in the air again where everything's clean and fresh, where you can see the sun and the moon and the stars. Cut it, Tank. That's the way to cash in your chips, I always say. Out in the open. Not down in a dirty hole like this, like rats in a trap.
Tank, will you please stop? Why?
That's what all of us is thinking about.
Huh?
Yes, Chris.
How long have we been down here?
It's hard to tell. What difference does it make? We'll be here a lot longer.
Tank, if you can't open your mouth without hanging crepe, go somewhere else, will you?
I wish I could.
If we only had some water. I'm awfully thirsty.
Same here. At least the air's still good. We won't suffocate. Yeah. Hey, where are you going, Hop?
I want to check that stone slab.
Huh? What for?
It chipped quite a lot away before the screwdriver broke. There's a hole in the wall. Maybe if I could just get my arm in it.
Need any help?
Oh, no, thanks. There's a piece of rock sticking out. Wonder if I can chip it away with a screwdriver handle.
Oh, Hop, what's the use?
Tank, I'm not giving up till I know there isn't a chance. Let's... Yeah.
Can you get your arm in now?
Uh-huh. And there's a big space between the slab and the wall. Yeah. So what's this?
Find anything?
What is it, Hop?
There's a rope, I think.
A rope. Well, pull on it. Maybe something will happen.
I'm trying to, but I can't get a good grip.
Maybe if I tried.
No, your arm's twice as big as mine. You'd never even get in. Yeah, I got it.
Swell. Give it a good yank.
What?
Nothing's happening.
But it must be there for something.
Part of the slab lifting mechanism, I guess, but I can't seem to make it work. No, so.
Wait a minute, Hop.
Huh?
Can you pull the rope into the tunnel here?
Yes, it's loose at one end.
Well, then, if you and Tank and I pulled on it together, something might happen.
Hey, the kid's got something.
Good idea, Chris.
Come on, Hop. Pull it. Pull it.
Yeah.
Come on, come on.
Tank, keep your shirt on. I'm working as fast as I can. Yeah, here's the end. Grab a tank and pull it through.
Got it.
Let me help.
Well, keep pulling. There's a lot more slack.
Oh, baby, if this works.
All right, it's taut. You both have a good grip?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And let's get at it. Pull with all your might.
Harder. Harder.
Yeah.
What's that?
Slab is moving a little.
The rope must be hitched over the top by a pulley.
We'll pull it up. We'll do it.
And let's get at it. Put your backs into it, fellas. Come on.
Yeah. More, Tank. More.
Pull it with all I got.
Is it lifting?
Only an inch or so. More, Tank. Come on.
I can't, Hop. I just ain't got no more. My arms are numb.
All right, let go.
Hop, we're not going to give up, are we?
Well,
But it's the only way we can get out.
Chris, we just can't do it. It's too heavy.
I'm pooped.
Well, let's try again. Maybe we didn't all pull together. We've got to, Hop. We've got to.
All right, we will as soon as we catch our breath. Relax a minute.
Okay.
Brother, I ain't lifted anything so heavy in all my life.
I wonder if there's anything we could use to brace the slab.
What do you mean?
If we could put something under it after we lift it, then we won't lose what we've gained. Maybe a few loose stones would do it.
I'll help you look.
Oh, wait.
What's the matter?
Tank, stand still.
But what?
Look. It's the eyes. The eyes of the black cat.
Hop, Tank, and Chris stand rooted to the ground, for they see the now all too familiar eyes glowing in the depths of the tunnel, shining with an unblinking stare. Gang, you won't want to miss the thrill-packed climax of today's episode, so stand by. You know, gang, oxygen is one of the most vital necessities in high-altitude flying. But the main trouble has been that enough of it for a complete crew takes up a lot of space and weighs about 500 pounds.
Of course, since it's so important, there just is no choice in the matter, and it has to be taken along. However, the AAF knew there must be a way to use liquid oxygen instead of oxygen gas, thereby cutting down the space required and the weight. So ever since 1921, experiments have been going on to put liquid oxygen to use in planes. When the war started, these experiments were stepped up considerably. If something could be found to put liquid oxygen to use for breathing, a lot of space would be saved in a high-altitude airship, space which could be used for other urgent needs. Machines called converters were developed, but none was practical enough to use. Then the Air Forces, with the help of the Bendix Aircraft Company, built the Bendix converter. It's already been tested in the lab up to an altitude of 100,000 feet and in temperatures as far down as 65 below zero. Oh, they really threw the book at it. Every possible test was given it, and the Bendix converter came through. And in actual flight tests, it performed even better than expected. In the converter, the liquid oxygen flows into a coil where it immediately becomes a gas. This continues until the gas builds up pressure enough to work a valve which feeds the lines to each crewman. There's enough of the life-giving gas in the new system to keep 8 men breathing for 6 hours. And when you stop to think how much you breathe in 6 hours, well, that's an awful lot of oxygen. You know, the Air Forces is always on the hunt for something better. And if you want to play a part in the future of aviation, get set to take your place in the sky. Always remember, America needs flyers. And now back to our story. Trapped in a tunnel deep in the ancient temple of Kumakan, Hop, Tank, and Chris were trying to find a way out when suddenly they saw, not 20 feet away, 2 cat's eyes glowing menacingly. The boys stand absolutely still, almost afraid to move.
What do we do? Hold still. Just standing there, staring.
Where did it come from?
That's what I'd like to know. Let's ease forward, quietly as possible. If I get my hands on it, so help me, I'll wring its neck. Slowly, Tank, slowly.
It's still standing there watching.
What? No, Tank, I couldn't help it.
Hop, it's gone.
Come on. What happened to it? Where'd it go to? Let's try to find out.
It was right about here, I'm sure it was.
Look around, fellas. What do you mean, look? I can't see a thing. Feel around. Check the walls everywhere. I don't get it. That cat wasn't in here before, which means it got in through an opening of some kind.
And maybe the opening's big enough for us.
Yeah, but we've been checking it. Jumping Jenny. What is it? Big hole in the wall, right next to the floor. Swell.
Let's see.
There it is. Feel it? Yeah.
Is it big enough for us to get through?
No. Not nearly. It's a cinch I could never get through.
Well, I bet I can do it. I'm not very big. Wait, I'll get down on my stomach.
Okay, fella, go to it. Well, watch yourself. If you get caught in there...
Here it goes.
How you doing?
Just tight squeeze.
Be careful, Chris.
Yeah, sure.
He's got his whole body in it. I only hope he doesn't get stuck. Yes.
I'm all the way through. I'm in another tunnel.
Good boy. Can you see anything?
No, it's too dark.
Well, can you find a way to get us out?
I'll try. Gosh, I'll try.
Maybe you can find a mechanism that operates the stone slabs.
Oh, my gosh.
Chris, what's the matter?
Somebody's coming.
What? Duck back into the hole.
I can't. 2 ladies almost on top of me.
At Chris's cry of alarm, Hop and Tank involuntarily start forward, but they can do nothing to help the boy. Who or what is in the tunnel with Chris?
Gang, don't miss tomorrow's episode. Be sure to tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine. Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways.
CX-4 calling control towers. CX-4 calling control towers. Standing by.
Control tower back to CX-4. Wind southeast. Ceiling 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan coming in.
Yes, it's America's ace of the airways, coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. You know, gang, when you take a picture on the ground, it's a pretty complicated business. Well, today we want to discuss the bigger problem of taking an aerial photograph. When you're shooting a picture from 4 or 5 miles up or even higher, you've got a real job on your hands. For instance, the Air Forces uses photos from which to make maps of the countryside. Each picture takes in a certain area, and when all the prints are put together, they have a complete map. For that type of work, the pictures must be perfect. They must be sharp and clear, and every detail must stand out. To take such perfect pictures, aerial cameras must be super sensitive and at the same time rugged and well built. During the war, the AAF's cameras were among the best in the world. But you all know the Air Forces. They're always on the lookout for new and better equipment. As a matter of fact, the photographic laboratory at Wright Field, Ohio, has developed a camera far superior to anything in existence up to now. It's much better than the famous Big Bertha, used in the atom bomb tests at Bikini last year. This new camera, called the K-30, can take pictures from way up in the stratosphere, up to 10 miles above the Earth. Imagine. What's even better, it takes pictures with more than twice as much detail as ever taken on film before. Now, small buildings and roads, never visible in aerial photographs, stand out clear as day. In just a few minutes, I'll be back with more interesting information about the new K-30 camera that will be of interest whether you're a camera fan or not. So don't forget to listen. And now to our story. Trapped in one of the many dark, twisting tunnels of the Temple of Kumakan in the lost Mayan city of Xochitl, Hop, Tank, and young Christopher Cross fought desperately to get out, but soon realized it was hopeless. But suddenly they saw a pair of eyes glowing weirdly green in the dark recesses of their prison. It was the ghost-like black cat again. The boys gave chase, but the eyes vanished as quickly as they had appeared. Searching frantically, Tank found a narrow hole in the wall near the floor. It was just large enough to admit young Chris. And in our last episode, you recall, he wormed his way through into another tunnel not 3 feet away. As Hop and Tank crouched on the floor listening for the boys' report, Chris suddenly called back in a frightened whisper.
Hop, there's somebody else in the tunnel. Coming this way.
Duck back in here, quick.
It's too late. He's almost here.
Can you see him?
No, I can't see a thing.
Then run for it.
But I can't leave you.
Never mind us. Go on, run.
What if I can't find my way back?
Will you cut the chatter and get going? Please, Chris.
Well... Oh...
Chris! Chris, what happened? Chris, answer me. Chris! Oh, Lord. What? Wasn't Sam Hill? Tank, he's laughing. Are you sure it's Chris? Of course. Chris, for the love of heaven, what's going on out there?
Oh, this is so funny.
What's so funny? Will you spill it, for Pete's sake? You're giving us heart failure. Chris, please.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
The kid's going nuts.
You know who it is?
Hey, this ain't no time for riddles. Chris, will you please stop laughing and talk?
Okay, I'm sorry. It's Pepita.
What? Pepita?
Yes, the donkey. You hear her?
Well, I'll be...
Isn't that the funniest thing you ever heard?
Yeah, it's funny, all right, but I'm too weak to laugh.
Oh, right, Pepita, take it easy. Golly, she's scared to death.
She's scared. I'm worn to a frazzle. Oh, look, Chris, hold on to her. Don't let her get away.
Oh, don't worry. She isn't moving. She's too glad to see me.
Good. You know what, Tank? What? Now, I think there's a decent chance of getting out of here. Chris!
Yeah, Hop?
Reach in and get the spare flashlight out of her pack.
All right.
What's the idea? We can't crawl through this hole. It's too small. I know it, but if Chris can find the mechanism that lowers and raises the stone slabs, we'll be all set.
All right, Hop. I have the flash. You want me to bring it in to you?
No. Now, listen. I want you to see if you can find a way to raise the stone slabs blocking this tunnel. But don't get lost.
I'll be careful.
Take Pepita with you. And keep checking your compass ring so you can find your way back here all right.
Okay.
Boy, it sure is lucky we got that compass ring. I'll say. Okay, Chris, get moving now. And good luck.
I don't like leaving you alone.
Don't worry about us. Go on, kid. Hurry it up.
I'll see you later.
And take care of yourself. If there's any sign of trouble, run.
I'll try not to be long. Come on.
Okay, Tank. Let's get up close to the stone slab so we can hear him when he gets there.
You mean if he gets there? He might run into some more ghosts.
Ah, Tank, do you think a ghost lowered those stone slabs? Here we are.
Yeah, something spooky's going on around here. Black cats and that awful noise we heard. And that guy we saw on the top of the temple, the guy with horns sticking out of his head.
He looks solid enough.
Yeah, but those horns.
As soon as we find him, I'll see if those horns are real or not.
I hope we don't find him.
One thing that puzzles me is why?
Why what?
Well, why has all this happened? Why should someone want to trap us in here, try to kill us?
I don't care why. I just want to get out of here.
After we take pictures of the mural.
You mean you're going to hang around after all that's happened?
We came down here to take pictures, and we're not leaving until we do.
Hey, wait a minute. What's that?
What? Oh, it must be Chris.
Supposing it ain't.
It is. That's Pepita. Chris! Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you okay, kid?
Yes, fine.
Look around now. See if you can find a way to lift this slab.
I am.
Concentrate on the wall to the left. It'd be on your right. That's where we found the rope.
Well, there are some ropes here, set right into the wall.
They hooked up to anything?
They don't seem to be. They run right up into a hole in the ceiling, and then down through a hole in the floor.
I'll try them. See what happens.
All right.
But be careful. Maybe if you pull the wrong one, this whole place will cave in.
This one doesn't work. Nothing happens with this one either. Only one left.
Oh, Lady Luck, don't leave us now.
I can move it.
Hey, something's happening. Stand back. The slab's moving.
Hop, Tank, you all right?
You bet we are. Come on, Hop. The slab's high enough. We can get out.
Check.
Oh, boy, that's what you call coming through in the clutch. Thanks a million, Chris.
Nice going,
All
fella.
I did was pull this rope here.
Huh? Let's see. I wonder...
Hey, the slab's coming down again.
No, don't worry. We're on the outside this time. Works by a counterweight somewhere under us. Pretty neat.
Look, I ain't in no mood to hang around. Let's get rolling, huh?
Oh, okay.
The tomb's in the next tunnel. I passed it on my way around here.
Good. Lead the way.
Come on, Pepita. Come on.
Boy, it sure was lucky she came in here.
I wonder how she got loose.
Well, her halter's broken. Guess she got lonesome. It's around here now.
Chris, did you see that cat again?
No, I didn't.
Did you see anything?
No. The tomb is just ahead. See how the needle on my compass ring is spinning around?
Ah, must be a heavy concentration of metallic ore in this section.
Yeah, that'd pull a magnetic compass way off the beam, all right.
Here we are now.
Oh, good. We'll get the pictures once and for all and then beat it.
Yeah, for good.
Shine the flash inside, Chris.
Hey, wait a minute. Turn it down near the door.
Why?
I know it. There's that bowl full of milk again.
Gosh, yes.
Ah, forget it.
Forget it. Means that black cat's around again.
So what? That helped us get out, didn't it? Come on now, inside. Great Scott.
What's the matter?
Ghost? Ghost, nothing. The camera. I left it in here. Now it's gone.
As Chris swings the flashlight around slowly, illuminating every corner of the tomb, it becomes evident that the camera is really gone. The tomb is empty. What could have happened to it? Gang, you won't want to miss the startling discovery at the climax of today's episode, so stand by.
Say, gang, at the beginning of Hop Harrigan, I was telling you about the Air Force's new camera, the K-30. You know, when the photo technicians built this new baby, they developed a tricky set of mirrors that made the aerial camera even better. They used two mirrors that bend light in the shape of the number 4. When the light enters the box, it hits the first mirror and reflects back to the second one. From there, it hits the film. Using the mirrors, the design engineers were able to reduce the overall size of the camera to only 4 by 5 feet. If they had built it the standard way, the K-30 would have been 10 feet high, much too big for practical use in a plane. In flight, the camera's shutter can work at tremendous speed. You know, the shutter stands between the light and the film. It only opens when you click the camera's button. It's just like your eye. Works exactly the same way. When your eyelids are closed, no light comes in, so you don't see anything. When you open your lids,
The light reflected from anything you're looking at goes in through your eye and registers on your brain. In the camera, when the shutter opens, the light goes through and registers on the film. The K30 shutter can blink open and close at terrific speed, up to 1/400th of a second. Another important factor the engineers had to think about is the cold weather way up in the stratosphere. So the K30 has been equipped with an inside hot air circulating system, which is controlled automatically, and a large electrically heated blanket which fits over the entire outside of the camera and lens barrel. These precautionary aids make sure the camera will work no matter how cold it gets on any mission. It's one of the latest achievements of the Air Forces in keeping abreast of the speedy progress being made every day in aircraft development. Get ready now to take your place in the sky, and always remember, America needs flyers. And now back to our story. Hop, Tank, and Chris have searched every inch of the tomb and the nearby tunnels for the missing camera, but have met with failure. And as we join them now, they are outside the temple of Kumakan in the broad daylight of mid-afternoon. Tank is the only one who can find something to be cheerful about.
Well, if we ain't got no camera, we can't take no pictures, which means we don't have to hang around here no more.
Now, cut the comedy, Tank. This is serious.
Well, it's true, ain't it? We can't take no pictures without the camera.
We've got to find it.
Look, we tried, didn't we?
Tank, this is important.
Yeah, I know, but there ain't nothing we can do about it.
That's one thing.
Huh? What?
Everything that's happened, the strange sound, the stone slabs blocking the tunnel, the black cat and the fresh milk, the camera's disappearance. They're all done by human hands. There's somebody else in those ruins.
The man with the horn.
Exactly. And we're going to find him.
Oh, yeah? How?
Turn the place upside down if we have to, but we're going...
Hey, Pepita! Hobbs, she broke away. I couldn't hold her.
Pepita, come back here, you dope!
After her, Tank. She's going around the other side of the temple.
Pepita, come back here! Pepita!
Now, what do you suppose made her do that?
Something must have scared her.
But gee whiz, what? I didn't hear anything. Doesn't seem to be anything around here.
Maybe she's getting temperamental.
Well, let's help Tank.
No, he'll catch her. She can't go far with that heavy pack on her.
Pop!
Tank's coming back and without Pepita.
Hey, something's wrong with him.
Pop! I saw him.
Saw who?
Him. He wasn't 2 feet away from me. I saw him with my own eyes.
Tank, what are you talking about?
He's right around there on the other side of the temple. The man with horns.
Eyes wide and staring with fright, Tank points a shaking finger at the far corner of the temple, and Hop and Chris wait, scarcely daring to breathe, for a sight of the man with horns. Gang, there's action and adventure ahead, so don't miss the next thrill-packed episode. Tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday, same time, same mutual station. Presenting Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airways.
CX-4 calling control tower. CX-4 calling control tower. Standing by.
Control tower, back to CX-4. Wind southeast, sailing 1200. All clear.
Okay, this is Hop Harrigan. Coming in.
Yes, it's America's ace of the airways. Coming in for another transcribed episode in the adventures of Hop Harrigan. It's a long way from flying through the sky to flying underwater, but it may not be too far in the future, gang.
Of course, when I say flying underwater, I mean traveling at high speeds. If it happens, it means jet propulsion will drive our submarines of the future at speeds far beyond anything our present-day submarines can do. Right now, the Army Air Forces is working with a new hydro bomb, which has attained a speed of 80 miles an hour underwater, and this bomb is said to have twice the destructive power of a normal torpedo. It has a range of 1,000 yards and carries a warhead of 1,300 pounds of explosives. You're probably wondering what that has to do with submarines. But the bomb really is a miniature submarine. Right now, it's in the early stages of development, and its range is short. But the men experimenting with it are still feeling their way. However, you can see they already have constructed a weapon that will make our submarines and Air Force stronger. How long it takes to develop long-range submarines still is to be seen. As far as the Air Forces is concerned, the new bomb's a natural. Unlike the torpedo, any standard bombing plane can carry the new hydrobomb. And unlike the torpedo, the bombing pilot does not have to worry about damaging a delicate propeller mechanism when he drops his load. The new bomb can be carried by planes as small as the A-26 attack bomber and can be unloaded while the plane's doing 350 miles an hour. This allows the pilot to come in fast and get away fast. I'll be back at the end of the program with more news, so don't forget to listen. And now to our story. Stalled in the completion of their assignment to photograph a secret mural in one of the tombs of the ancient temple of Kumakan, when, after escaping from a deadly trap, they re-entered the tomb to find their camera and other photographic equipment gone, Hop, Tank, and young Christopher Cross returned to the surface of the lost city to plan their next move. But suddenly Pepita, the little donkey they used as a pack animal, broke away. Tank gave chase around the corner of the massive stone temple, but reappeared almost instantly, eyes wide with fright.
Ah, I saw him. Who? He was right in front of me, no more than 2 feet away. I looked smack in his face. It was awful.
Tank, what are you talking about? Whose face?
The man with horns.
Oh, gosh.
He's right around that corner coming after me.
Okay, get hold of yourself, Tank.
Get hold of myself. After what I saw, I'm getting out of here.
No, you're not. Stand still.
But,
There's nobody coming after you, Tank. Look.
He's around there. I know he is.
Good. Let's go.
Where?
I want to see this man with horns.
Oh, no.
We're going to get to the bottom of this ghost business right now.
Come on, Tank.
Oh, gosh.
What did he look like? Were you close enough to really see the horns?
I was close enough to feel him. There he was, just looking at me. And them horns curling right out of his head.
Did he say anything?
I don't know. I didn't wait to hear.
Well, what about Pepita? What's happened to her?
I wasn't going to worry about no donkey at a time like that.
All right, now, take it easy. If you haven't been imagining things again, Tank, he should be right around the corner here.
Imagining things. Brother, I wish it had been you instead of me.
Okay, quiet. I'll take a look first.
Do you see him?
I don't see anything.
Huh?
Come here, look for yourself.
Why, there's nothing there except Pepita.
But I saw him, I tell you.
Where?
Down there, just about where Pepita's standing now. There's a little doorway.
All right, come on.
Pepita seems to be okay. She doesn't look scared.
She obviously has more sense than Tank.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Skip it.
I don't like your remark. That donkey's too dumb to be scared.
You'll see. Here's the doorway now.
Dark in there.
Where's the flash, Chris?
Oh, here.
Thanks.
Be careful, fellas, for Pete's sake.
Looks like the entrance to another tunnel.
But I don't see... Ah, look, there he is.
What? Well, Alfie, a man with horns, huh? You ought to have your eyes examined, Tank.
What do you mean?
It's a goat, you idiot. A plain, ordinary, everyday nanny goat.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. Look.
Oh. Well, it was dark. I couldn't see all of them.
You couldn't see, period.
But, Hop, it wasn't a goat on top of the temple last night. It was a man's face, I'm sure.
Well,
You saw it yourself.
maybe we made a mistake.
So Pepita came around here because she smelled a goat.
Uh-huh. Well, now that we've laid another ghost, let's get back to business.
Wait a minute. Hop, point the flash over to the left a little, will you?
Sure.
Look, isn't that a bed?
A bed?
Yes.
Since when do goats sleep in beds?
They don't. Let's have a look.
You going inside?
What does it look like?
Come on, Tank.
I don't like this. I swear I don't.
Easy now. It's a bed, all right. Yeah, look on the floor here, some food.
Somebody must live here.
Ooh, that's what I'd like to know.
Hey, here's another bowl of milk.
We ain't going to see that cat again, are we?
Maybe. Let's see if it's fresh.
Hey, Hop, you'll get poisoned if you keep tasting everything you see.
It's fresh, all right. Pretty strong. Same as the milk we found in front of the tomb. Hey, now the pieces are beginning to fit. That's goat's milk.
From that goat there.
Now, if we could only find out who went...
Hop, I just heard something.
Somebody's in the tunnel around the bend. Get that tank.
We going after him?
And how we are. Get ready to jump fast. He's coming closer. Now, Adam,
Roger! Oh, no, you monkey, or I'll wipe up the floor.
Please, senor, please do not hurt me.
Turn the light on, Hop.
what? Well, he's an old man.
I did not mean any harm, senor. Please let me go.
Take him outside, Tank.
Come on, you get moving.
Yes, as you wish, senor, but do not hurt me. I am old.
You're not too old to start trouble. Move.
Go easy on him. He looks pretty frail.
Okay. Stand still, you.
Please, anything you wish, senor.
All right, now. Who are you?
Nobody, senor. Merely a poor peasant. I do not wish anyone harm.
Like fun, you don't.
What's your name?
Pablo, senor.
What are you doing here in Xochitl?
I live here.
Live here? Why?
I am old. I can work no longer. I have not the money for which to pay for a house or for food. Here I am left alone and I managed to live.
I see. Have you been here long, Pablo?
Si, senor. Nearly a year.
Do you know about the god, Kumakan?
Si, senor.
Do you know about the legend of the tomb that the ruler's soul transfers to the body of a black cat?
Si, senor, I know.
Have you ever heard the voice of Kumakan? Or seen the blood on the altar?
Senor,
Tell me, aren't you afraid to live here with all the ghosts of the past?
No, senor. They do not come near me. I feel very safe here.
Oh, you do. Could it be because you're the ghost, Pablo?
Me, senor? Oh, no.
Didn't you make that strange sound last night? Didn't you pour blood on the stone and stand at the top of the temple with your goat behind you so it would look like you had horns coming out of your head?
Oh, no, senor.
And leave the milk in front of the tomb and send the cat into the tunnel and remove the milk when we weren't looking?
Senor, please.
Then finally, when you saw we wouldn't be scared out, you closed off one of the tunnels with us in it.
Oh, senor, how can you say such a thing? I would not hurt a flea.
Well, I may be wrong. But I think we'll have to take you back to Valladolid with us anyway.
Oh, no, senor.
There are too many strange things happening here, Pablo. We wouldn't want you to get hurt. You'd be much safer in Valladolid.
But there is no harm in my staying here, senor.
Of course there is. There's danger from all the ghosts.
Senor, I've lied to you.
Oh?
It was I, Pablo. I did all the dreadful things you said.
Oh, you did, huh?
Tank, hold it.
I am so very sorry. I beg your forgiveness, senor, but I was afraid. You are the second people who have come in such a short time.
He means Dad and me.
I was afraid that more would come, and then I would have no place to live.
So you tried to frighten us away, eh?
You tried to kill us,
Oh,
too.
no, senor, I would have released you. Believe me, I swear by all the gods. I only did not wish to lose my home.
I see.
Hop, did he take the camera, too?
Well, Pablo?
What is this camera?
The small black box and the tripod. 3 sticks that stood up and joined at the top. They were in the tomb.
See, I have them there safe, senor.
Good.
Well, what are we going to do with him? Turn him over to the police?
Please, senor, do not send me away, please.
No, let him go, Tank.
After what he did to us?
Forget it. He's harmless. He was only trying to protect his home. Let him go.
Gracias.
Oh, you're a
Gracias,
softy.
senor, gracias.
Forget it. Now, dig out our camera, will you?
Si, senor, si, right away. I get it for you pronto. Right away, pronto.
Gosh, I can't help feeling sorry for that poor old man.
Now, he won't cause any more trouble.
I hope not.
Are you satisfied now, Tank? We've explained away all the ghosts.
Well, he didn't tell us how he made that noise or how he put blood on the altar.
I'll ask him later. Sure is a load off my mind, though.
And how? Now we can take our pictures without having to worry what's going to happen to us next.
Yes, Chris. Looks like from here on in, we've got smooth sailing.
Hop is quite optimistic as he smiles and looks around at the ancient ruins, now far from mysterious or deadly in the clear mid-afternoon sunlight. But the young pilot has forgotten something, a danger that looms larger with every passing minute. Gang, will bring you the climax of today's episode in just a moment, so stand by. Now, here's some more about the Air Force's new jet hydrobomb. Not only can the bomb travel underwater as fast as 80 miles an hour, but it's automatically controlled. Its terrific punch of 1,300 pounds of high explosive almost guarantees crippling a big battleship or cruiser. The jet bomb is simple in design. As it's dropped, a blast of air sets its control mechanism in operation. If it were dropped from 2,000 feet, it would hit the water in 13 seconds. Imagine. As it enters the water, the rocket motor is started. This develops more than 2,000 pounds of push in the first 30 seconds, ramming the jet bomb through the water at 70 or 80 miles an hour. Underwater, the course of the bomb is controlled by a motor, which in turn answers to signals put out by a gyro. The depth at which the bomb travels beneath the surface of the water is controlled in the same way. The explosive itself is set off by a contact detonator switch in its nose. It hits the side of a ship, the switch is closed, and wham, off goes the bomb. The Air Forces has been working on the bomb since 1942, but it was never used during the last war. 3 men started it: Colonel R.E. Jarman, Captain J.F. Henley, and A.C. Ledding. When you think of experimental work, you think of big laboratories, but these 3 men started on the jet bomb with miniature models in a small fish pond. They even used skyrockets, the same kind you see on the 4th of July, to propel the first models. Well, finally, they convinced the big brass in Washington that they really had something, and the real work was then begun. Incidentally, captured documents show that both the Japanese and Germans were experimenting with the very same idea. They never succeeded, but our scientists have. Well, that's all for now, except remember, America needs flyers. And now, back to our story. Deep in the tropical forest of Yucatan, less than 5 miles west of the ancient city of Xochitl, a party of 5 men, heavily armed, led by a woman clothed entirely in black, proceeds along a narrow trail heading eastward. The woman, La Pantera, raises her hand in a signal to stop.
Miguel, come here.
Si, senora.
We shall rest here for an hour.
Bueno. The men would like that, senora. They are tired.
They have much work ahead of them. Tell them to make the most of the time.
Is the lost city still far ahead?
A few miles. I would like better to get there at nightfall. It will be easier to trap Harrigan and Tinker.
Si. But you are sure they are at the city?
Of course I'm sure. Did we not see their aircraft at the field in Valladolid? And did not the stupid peasant in the town tell us they took one of his donkeys?
Si. The donkey I shot at when he flew over the city.
Harrigan and Tinker are there.
I hope they do not leave before we arrive.
I do not think they will, Miguel. And when we arrive, we shall make certain they never leave the lost city again.
So La Pantera, the cruel and clever spy, and the boy's deadliest enemy, makes a grim promise as she and her men close in around the lost city of Xochitl. This is the danger Hop has overlooked. Gang, you won't want to miss the beginning of Hop's and Tank's battle against tremendous odds in our next action-packed episode. So tune in and fly with Hop Harrigan, America's ace of the airwaves. So long, Hop. We'll be seeing you same time, same mutual station. Hop Harrigan is a transcribed, copyrighted feature appearing in All American Comics magazine.